All right, yeah, so we have a limp from the hijack, and then we look around, we see that the big blind's also a weak player. Still think this is probably just a fold, but I guess we elect to limp here and go multi-way with a very small suited connector, and we flop trips. I remember this hand actually. Okay, so checks around and we unblock the 10. We have 3 other opponents in the hand. I think we're just going to start building a pot. Okay, we're calling it a small blind. It's probably important to note that the small blind is the small blind and the big blind are the 2 players most likely to have a 4 here. And when big blind folds, like the small blinds are the most likely to have a 4 here. I guess you could have a hand like 4-5 suited. I definitely remember this hand, yeah. Okay, queen comes, he checks. We check behind. We don't want to bet this hand 3 streets. We don't have a great kicker. Although, I mean, like, probably certainly fine to keep betting. We get value from, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, get value from a 10, right? Like, interesting. The 5 comes. He bets $2. We raise. Yep, so the 5 comes, which blocks 4-5 suited. We raise, he calls, and he's got 5-4 offsuit. And he just called here on the end, which is interesting. Okay, pocket 9s. We 3-bet a hijack open. Looks like a reg. I think that's fine. Yeah, makes sense to me. I want to get heads up. We'll be in position. Pretty strong hand. Oh, and we get a cold call out of the big blind. So we're right away our radar's going out, probably a weaker player. And his stack size indicates something similar. So Jack 8-9, he checks it over to us. We have a gut shot. We have a spade card. We don't want to see a lot of high cards come, but the Jack being there. Jack being there kind of sucks. Like when he cold calls my 3-bet, I think he's got hands like ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, king, queen suited. 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks. Those types of hands. We've certainly got jacks in our 3-bet range. I don't know if we have 8s or 7s, and I don't think we have 9, 10 suited. And against his stack size, I think like if we bet, we're likely to get jammed on quite often by just, which I guess we don't really care. Maybe we just stack off. Not really sure how to approach this spot, to be honest. But I think we go ahead and check. No, we do not. We go ahead and bet small. I think betting small is fine. We benefit a lot if he folds bigger pairs. Okay, and he just calls. So what is his calling range? He's got some flush draws. He's got, I think he's probably folding his ace highs. Maybe he has some jack X, king jack, those types of hands. A cold call 3-bet, king jack, queen jack suited. Hands like that. Okay, the 7 comes, pairs the board. He probably doesn't have that many 7s unless he's playing like 7-8 suited. I don't think I think he'd be folding 6-7 suited. So I don't think he has that much 7. So the 7's fairly blank. Given that we bet and he called, he's filtered a lot towards like jack X and maybe a hand like 10s, maybe. So here I think I like a check behind, but we go for it. What the fuck? So we block 9, 10. fuck are we doing? It's really weird. I don't know what we're doing. Okay, so we open, we get called by the blinds, and we flop trip threes. Pretty good for us. Two-tone, our overpairs are doing really well. We have tons of overpairs that all want to bet. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty innocuous board. Like, we should probably be betting our range on this board, even against two players. But maybe not. Maybe it'd be a little tighter against two players. But we size very strangely here. I'm not sure what's up with that. Man, what the hell is going on here? I guess we wanted to size up, but then we realized there was two other players and we sort of picked a middling size. Okay, and we get called in two spots and the 10 of clubs comes off. Here, I mean, what's our continuation range? Like a lot of maybe like sixes, sevens, eights, definitely flush draws. I don't know if they have 5-6 suited very often here. Yeah, that's really it, man. Ace deuce, maybe pocket fives. So this card is very good for them and not so good for me. Like I don't see too many continues that aren't club draws or something along those lines. So I think this is a spot where I should just be checking. I expect to check raise a ton on this turn, but I guess we just go ahead and bet. Okay, the 10 comes and he just leads pot. Interesting, like I don't think he calls the flop. Like what 10x is he calling the flop with? It'd have to be 10x of clubs. And considering the turn was a club, I don't think he really has much 10x in his range. Guess he could somehow like ace 10 with the ace of clubs, but like there's not much 10x in his range. And I think he's got a flush quite often. And so I really like jamming here. We do jam, we get called. He does have a flush. Okay, we open a7 off under the gun, get called in a bunch of spots. This is probably just gonna check fold. 3-bet king jack off against the hijack open because it seems okay. It's better than calling for sure. Okay, this is like a semi-connected middling low board, rainbow. Actually not exactly sure what our strategy should be on this board. We are gonna have a lot of overpairs. His open range shouldn't really contain any straights. He's definitely got eights and maybe sixes and maybe fours. But on this board, it seems like an overpair is kind of the nuts. And we have more strong overpairs than he does. So actually, we have more strong overpairs. We would benefit from getting ace high hands to fold. I don't know if ace high hands are always folding for a third pot. So maybe we could, I think I like betting third pot, or I like betting quarter pot, third pot, or I like checking behind. And if he checks again, really starting to attack. Okay, so we do check behind. The 8 is fairly unlikely to help him. Like I said, he doesn't like unless he had a set of 8. So I think the 8 actually helps us, makes it less likely that he somehow flopped a set of 8s on us. And now our over pairs are doing quite well. And he's checked twice. I think he's weighted a lot towards like some ace highs and some broadways. So I think we can just bet big twice, bet over bet maybe, and just get him to fold those types of hands. Or we can just bet big once and he will fold those types of hands. Jack 10. Okay, we 3-bet fairly large here out of the big blind, which I like. Flop ace high, rainbow, super, super dry board, as dry as it gets. This type of board, like I think normally, well, I think we'd be c-betting range on this board, even in this spot here in this 3-bet pot. But I also think Poole may be playing, well, you know, I don't know. Like here, we're just going to try to get value from worse aces, things like that. Like his range definitely is maybe some like ace, queen, ace, jack, maybe. I guess most of his range is like jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s. And then some suited connectors and some suited broadways probably. So most of his range doesn't really like this board at all. So I actually don't mind checking, maybe getting a bluff, getting him to take a stab at it here. And he does end up going about 40% pot. And I think like once we've checked, our only other option here is to call. 6 is relatively blank, super blank. With ace of hearts even. Okay, he checks back. Now I'm pretty convinced he's got some sort of pocket pair or just some Broadway. It's a super dry board. So ace king here is like the nuts. We need to be value betting it. We've checked twice. How do we get the most value? What types of hands are we trying to get value from? 10s. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard for us to get value here, I think. Right, like 10s. 9s, I guess you could have a hand like king jack. We block like queen jack maybe. Ace queen, definitely get value from ace queen, but I expect him to bet ace queen as well. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess like, yeah, I just bet for value and he folds, but yeah, I mean, he's checking behind almost always, I'm sure. I don't know for sure though.